Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is So. For today's video, I'm going to be doing my October wrap up. My October started off really well actually because I had some time off work and I literally read the majority of the week. So I was very impressed with myself. So I read 7 books, I think, and one of them was a DNF, but we'll get to that. I'm just gonna go through them in no particular order. So I actually reread Crave this month, so I don't really have a rating for it, but I reread it listening to it as a graphic audio because everyone now has them as graphic audios. They have this one, the second one, and the third one, I think. But yeah, so I re-listened to it because I want to carry on the series this month. So Crush is on my TBR this month and I needed to revisit it to remind myself of the goings on of the book. I had a really good time. Again, it was a fun time the first time, but I remember the first time I read it, I just remember getting really annoyed with our main character, to be honest. If you don't know, it follows a girl that becomes an orphan and she ends up having to live with her uncle and her cousin, but her uncle is a headmaster of a school in the depths of Alaska, so she has to go there to live because it's a boarding school. And she finds out that everyone around her is like vampires, witches, werewolves, dragons, but she spends more than half of this book not realizing the monsters that are around her, and that's the bit that was getting annoying because it was like, come on, you know what they are, you know that he's a vampire, why are you still like coming up with valid excuses for everything that they do? It's still a really fun time. I love paranormal romances, I love paranormal stories in general. I've always been a paranormal girly. Supernatural is my favorite TV show, so everything like that I eat right up. And yeah, it is still a fun time going into it a second time. Next on the pile we have Zodiac Academy 2. I gave this one 3 stars. It definitely didn't excite me as much as the first one did. It was a good story and I really enjoyed getting the POVs from the other characters because the first book only follows the twins POVs, but this adds some of the boys into it as well, which I did really enjoy seeing things from their side. I don't know if it's because I listened to it so I didn't really absorb the plot and the story as much, but this one just didn't. I enjoyed it, I had a good time, but I wasn't as obsessed with it as I was with the first one. I enjoyed hanging out in the world again, I enjoyed getting the other POVs. The plot, I can't even tell you what the plot was, to be honest. Oh, something to do with the nymphs again, I think. But yeah, again, if you don't know the story, it follows 2 girls who are orphans and they're twins under the Gemini sign, and they get transported to this world when they turn 18 that they didn't know exist, and it's like a fae world that is a shadow realm of Earth, and they realise that they actually have powers, and they go to a school where they harness their powers and they're actually the heirs to the entire like kingdom. This follows straight on from the first book, so it's still in like their first year, I believe. But anyway, this one, enjoyed it, enjoyed the POVs. With getting the POVs, you actually understood more about the boys and why they are the way they are, and I did enjoy that. That was good character development. But yeah, I'm still excited to carry on with the series. This one just wasn't like my favourite out of the 2 so far. Then we have Stalking Jack the Ripper, which was the absolute highlight of October. This started my month off so strong, and I just don't think, I think that's why I've rated so many books lower for the rest of the month, because this just set the expectations so high. I am obsessed. I am reading the second book this month and I just love everything about this book. I rated it 4 stars, but it's definitely more of like a 4.5, potentially a 5 star. It didn't quite give me the feeling that 5 stars normally do, but I loved it nonetheless. It follows a girl, and we're in the Victorian times, so there is certain social expectations for females in this time, but she wants to be a mortician, so she studies under her uncle secretly, and while she's doing this there is a string of murders, which is the Jack the Ripper case, and she starts to investigate it to find out who is killing all these girls. The second one then goes to Romania and it's more murders, but it's under the Dracula reign. And yeah, I just loved everything about this book. The atmosphere was impeccable. The romance and banter between the two main characters was so good. Like, so good. I actually was like screaming, crying, giggling, kicking my feet the whole time. I just loved it so much. And I'm so excited to follow these two into another story. Then we get to this one. I don't really know what to say about this one other than I was very disappointed. I love Alex Michaelides normally. I loved The Silent Patient. I know some people think it's like the most basic thriller, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. The Maidens I also really enjoyed. That was more like dark academia mystery. This one was boring. I really tried. I read 130 pages, which was about not far off halfway through, and I just didn't care for it. I didn't care what was happening by that point, and I just thought, because it was during my readathon, I'm wasting my time on a book that I just don't care to find out what happens. And I was really upset about it because this is only his third book release and I didn't like it. So now I'm definitely going to be hesitant to buy his next one. I'm hoping he pulls it back. The way this is written is, it's kind of written like a play where there's like act 1, act 2, and when you go to the theatre or you watch a movie and the narrator's like, sit down, let me tell you a story, that is how this is written, which is fine. The writing style wasn't the problem for me, it was just the fact that I just didn't care for the plot at all. There were so many characters, I didn't care for any of them. I honestly couldn't even name one of them for you. And when I did get too bored, I skipped to the end just to try and find like the plot twist, and I found out that I guessed it in the prologue. So I would have wasted all that time only to come to a disappointing end anyway, and I just wasn't here for it. So I DNF'd this one at 130 pages and I won't be picking it back up. I will be listing it on my Vinted. I mean, maybe it does appeal to some people. I have seen some like 5-star reviews of this book, but for me and how I like my thrillers and mysteries, this just wasn't intriguing to me. There was no like, I didn't care who the murderer was and I didn't care who died either. I can't read a murder mystery book if I just don't care about the murders, you know? Another disappointing book for me was this one, which is Kingdom of the Feared by Kerry Maniscalco. I loved Kingdom of the Wicked. I enjoyed Kingdom of the Cursed. I had a good time with this one, but it just felt like a throwaway book. It was more of a spicy, I don't know how to describe it. It was like pure spice. The plot was like hardly anywhere to be seen, and the plot that was there was so confusing. I literally didn't even understand how we got to this point. And I was so excited to read this one and wrap up the series. And I was nervous about wrapping up the series because I didn't want it to end. I love the characters in these books so much. But yeah, this one just didn't do it for me. And I've seen some people with the same opinions. I just felt like the plot came out of nowhere and it wasn't really explored to the full extent. And it was just filled with smut, and that is not how the books have been. Like, if you went into the whole series knowing that that was what it was, that's fine. I don't have a problem with smutty books. I like smutty books. But the first book is pure YA. There's like next to no spice at all. It's like a 1. There is romance, but there isn't spice. The second one, it does go up a little bit, but this one is like a full-on jump off a cliff into a spice den. And then the plot just is like a subplot. And a subplot that wasn't even, I mean, maybe I missed loads of subtle hints through the books or something, but I just didn't get it. And then when I accepted that was where we were, I didn't understand it. And it's really not difficult writing. It's not even like it's dense writing. I just didn't get it. So I gave it a 3-star because I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed being with the characters again. They were fun. But like the actual story, I don't really know where it was, to be honest with you. The last one I read was The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling, which is number 2 to The X-Hex. And I really enjoyed The X-Hex, but I do actually think I prefer The Kiss Curse. My critique and my ratings have got a lot harsher, so this isn't reflective of The Kiss Curse. But I would give it a low 4-star, maybe a 3.5. I really enjoyed my time. It was a really good, fun October Halloween witchy book, and the romance was a lot better, I feel, and the plot was a lot more fun. But it wasn't like anything crazy special, and it definitely wasn't a 5-star. So I really enjoyed my time. The Kiss Curse follows a girl who gets drunk one night and accidentally curses her ex, and her and her cousin go through all this stuff to try and uncurse him, basically. And the Kiss Curse, which is the one I read this month, that follows the cousin and the brother of the main guy in the first book, and I just felt like their chemistry was much more fun and their story was a much more fun one to discover and go through. But I do like the both of them, and I feel like it is something that I could definitely reread like multiple Halloweens, because it's just the whole town, it reminds me of like Hocus Pocus a little bit. Like the whole town is just very Halloween based. Everyone there loves Halloween. They have multiple witchy shops that are all thriving off of Halloween, and yeah, I just really love it. And that is what I read this month. Please let me know what you read this month. If there was anything that you particularly loved, if there's anything that you didn't love, I want to hear about it all, and let me know what you're planning on reading this month. Don't forget to give us a big thumbs up, it really helps, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave so you don't miss the next video. Bye guys!